Hello everyone, this is Shamsi and today we're doing an update for my top 10 tips and tricks video. The reason we're doing it is that the game has a very steep learning curve and I figured a few things out and I've been taught a few things here and there, and it's time to update that video. So let's get straight into it, and tip number one is to have a ship like this. What I mean by that is a ship that you can compactify. If a ship doesn't have a container, is on an extra small core, has less than I think 4 or 3 Atmo engines, then it can be compactified into what's called a super blueprint, where basically you don't need to carry any of the voxels or the elements of the ship, but the blueprint can deploy a completed ship that is completely compactified into itself. So if I were to demonstrate for you right now, Atmo shuttle prototype here. I don't have any of the materials to build this ship in the inventory, but all I have to do is deploy it, and I have a very fast shuttle deployed right here quickly for me. And when I'm done with it, I right click, construct compactification here, or Alt plus B, and it goes back into my inventory as a blueprint, which again doesn't need any elements to deploy. All the elements are stored in the blueprint. So if you're ever in a pinch, it can be a real lifesaver to have what's called a pocket rocket, a ship that you can store in your inventory and use. Tip number two is about lighting. The sun is very high in the sky right now, but when it gets dark, when I'm streaming or when you say, for instance, are just working around your base and you can't see much of what's going on, you find the glowy honeycomb or the light strips don't do very much to illuminate the area. But these lights here, a Twitch viewer gave me a tip. Vertical light L actually casts a very nice soft light around. If you want, you can go have a look at my warp cell upgrade video. That was recorded entirely at night and lit by these vertical light Ls. So if you want to see what that light looks like, you can go check out that video. The next tip is about building, and for the longest time I used to place one voxel out and then start drawing from it when I got to where I wanted to build from. But now I figured out if you hold down Shift, you can start drawing. So if I press up, it goes up and page down, increase depth here for me, and then up and down, increase its height for now. And if I hold Control while pressing those, it jumps up a whole bunch. And there you go. You can draw whatever you want using only the keyboard, which is sometimes much more accurate and easy to control than drawing with a mouse. The next tip is about re-entry from space, so I'll be right back when I'm doing that on my little shuttle here. So the way I would normally enter atmosphere before I started relying too heavily on the Arcadia and Demacia glide re-entry and parachute re-entry abilities is I would manually try to go flat against the horizon and burn forward, thinking that my wings would be able to get lift once I had sufficient forward movement. But a much better way of doing it that a YouTube commenter taught me is to align the nose of your ship with that green arrow, because the angle of stalling for your wings is relative to which way you're heading, basically. So if, for instance, you are heading straight down, and the instinct for me was to try and level off against the horizon and burn forward as quickly as I could, you run the risk of plummeting belly first into the ground. But if you angle your nose to align with the direction of travel here, right, I've got it set up for us. Yep, good. Your wings will get lift pretty much as soon as you hit atmosphere, and then you can use your wings to pitch up and bring your direction of travel up using your high altitude lift, and that will hopefully stop you from belly flopping into the ground. So let me show you how that works. I've got lift now. I just slowly pitch my nose up, and my wings adjust my direction of travel so I don't belly flop into the ground. Now, obviously, it's much better to pitch your nose down relative to the planet to the maximum angle that your ship can handle. But if you find yourself having, say, been distracted and plummeting directly towards the ground, don't try to burn away from the direction of that green arrow. turn into it, and then as best as you can pitch up using your wings and your high altitude lift. The next tip I will demonstrate right now is another way to land. So if you're very heavy and you have sufficient atmo braking, you can do what the script is looking after for me right now, which is called brake landing. Basically, you're using your air brakes to gently glide down like a feather, even if you are at extreme maximum capacity. If I turn off the script for the moment, all you would need to do is hold down brake, and it will bring your speed way down as you fall down vertically. Now, this dial here that's showing me my vertical fall speed is from my script, the Arcadia Damascus script. But even if you don't have it, you can judge by how quickly you're falling. So I've climbed back up and the script isn't on. The only thing that's happening right now is that my brakes are engaged. You don't need any kind of Lewis scripting or anything to brake land right now. All you need is brake force, so atmospheric brake force of over, say, 4.5, 5 Gs. And so if you find yourself carrying a lot of heavy ore and need to land quickly and safely, you would bring yourself down to, say, 700-800 meters, and then glide down on your air brakes. And then once our hover engines have us, we can fine maneuver to where we want to land. A little bonus tip here: fine maneuvering for me is basically burning your atmo engines with your brakes engaged, so you don't take off uncontrollably, but can make micro little adjustments to where you're heading to get back, for instance, to a landing pad. I'm gonna leave this in the video. Like a glove. Now, while we're fixing my parking here, the next tip is an update on the external tools available in the game, the community-made tools. And the dual.sh itself has a load of updates to it. There's the ship store here where you can buy ships. There's a link to the script that I'm using, Dimensia Arcagio's Discord and organization in the game here. Also, organizations such as Hyperion have tools. I'm not sure if it's still open to the public or not, but they had industry planning guides and tools and all sorts of other things that you could use. Do keep an eye on the forums, the Discord, the Reddit. The community here is a font of knowledge and experience, and by and large, people do share and help new players a great deal, and do so without any kind of sense of how should I phrase it? Elitism is the word I was looking for there. There's very little elitism in the community, at least that I found personally. So do reach out and do seek help if you're new. Do watch content creators. Do reach out to people and look for help. The next tip I have is not to over-rely on autopilots. For instance, the anti-gravity generator functionality was removed from the Arcadia and Dimensia script, and so I found myself in a very strange position of suddenly not being able to pilot the way that I had gotten used to piloting for my very heavy hauler here. And so this is a heavy hauler. It can carry about 4.5 kilotons of weight here, and it flies normally. It takes off and it lands and it cruises through atmosphere and through space completely normally without the need of an anti-gravity generator. One thing I found when I started getting used to, say, Arcadia and Dimensia's script, I would get overly used to glide re-entry and parachute re-entry and altitude holds and so on, and it would make my piloting overall deteriorate. Even if you are using Lewis scripts, do practice not using Lewis scripts. Don't get overly reliant on scripts. It's like when you're driving a manual transmission versus an automatic transmission. Get used to driving on a manual transmission first and then get to your automatic car. But make sure the skills to pilot have become muscle memory for you. And if you are using a Lewis script, then first build the muscle memory, then use reliance on the Lewis script. When it comes to building, one thing that struck me from the Zenith Air Show was the creativity of the community and the incredible ships and shapes that were built by that community. And so I started to get a little overwhelmed and started to get a tad dejected that I could never learn to be at that level or to compete at that level for making nice looking ships. Now I make some horrendous looking ships from time to time, but it's all in the process of learning. So my tip on getting into Voxelmancy is not to let it overwhelm you, but pick a couple of things that you want to work at. So from the Zenith show, I decided that I wanted my floors to look nicer than they were before. So I started experimenting with melding different patterns and colors and materials together. And I wanted to make smooth shapes. So these tables here are made from voxels. And I started practicing with the smooth tool to make organic looking shapes. So my scorpion here, I initially built out of blocks. It looked like something out of Minecraft. But then I used the area smooth tool to smooth it into this smoothish, organic-ish looking shape here. So it doesn't matter what you want to practice. Pick a couple of things only, learn them well, and then pick a couple more things. And that way you'll start to expand your own ability and knowledge and I suppose also willingness to experiment in the privacy of your own gameplay, unlike me who does it all while streaming. Learn Voxelmancy a couple of things at a time, a couple of techniques at a time. And then also, an extra bonus tip here, do take advantage of Voxel Libraries. I still haven't gone to get any, but a lot of people have made, curves and cylinders and shapes that they're giving away for free. You take a blueprint, you place it, and then remember, if I'm in build mode on one construct here, and there's a, voxel construction, for instance, and I copy it, and I exit build mode on that construct, and I enter a whole other construct, I can still, with the number 7 tool out, so the select voxel tool, which is 7 by default, if I press Ctrl V, that voxel shape gets pasted into the new construct. So you can get a whole bunch of shapes that you don't then have to make yourself and start making use of them in your own builds. The next thing that I want to talk about is don't fall into the trap of only looking to generate wealth. Yes, it is a unique point in the game's life cycle where it's quite easy to generate wealth right now. But if I were to just go and show you, one little thing here. So this is somewhere called the MCRN hangar, and it's an incredibly cool little place. It's still under construction. This is one person's effort. One person made all of this. Here's a landing pad up here for ships to come and visit in person if they want. And there's a whole installation underneath us. And so yeah, this is, one little example of something that one player built over a period of time. Went and farmed the material and built it. Don't fall into the trap of only generating wealth. This is all voxel work here. It's incredible. Go around the world. Go around Alioth. Go around all the other worlds. See all the other installations. This here is on Alioth. It's MCRN's hangar on the Surrogates session network. So that was one option of a place to go visit. Go and see the world. Go and see all the wonderful things that are out and about. Come to the Orangery of the Gods here, go to MCRN's hangar, go to Amnesor's hangar, the Warhammer one, go and see, and go and build. A lot of these things is simply one person who knows what they're doing, spending the time and effort to make an interesting thing in the world. Novacork is making an open call for interesting and visitable places that you players and I suppose me or anyone else can build for them to feature on their social media. So fashion is the end game of most MMOs, so get in early on that action and build stuff. The last tip I want to talk about is building wealth. So don't fall into the trap of building wealth only. in your gameplay currently, and also don't fall into the trap of only building wealth as a solo player. Now, if that's something that's interesting to you and you want to only build wealth as a solo player, then okay, fantastic, all power to you. But if you are interested in group play, have a look at organizations. Be careful what organization you join. Make sure it's one that's dedicated to helping its members to progress, as well as helping itself to progress. But don't discount group play. If I were to go to my own organizations here, now I'm not involved in the leadership at all. My rank is in fact that of recruit on the Discord, so I don't get anything for featuring them. I only using them here as an example because I am familiar with them, but there are many other orgs available, Hyperion, many others that you can join. But if I click here on DIA Careers, there are all sorts of different options for you to get into. Now I'm going to do a full video on group play, so this is only a taster. But you know, you can set up military fleet commands and you get paid 5 million per successful fleet run. And Olmeka once described what is a successful fleet run to me. That is one in which people had fun. It's not necessarily, oh, you got a kill. Even if you had no fights, but people enjoyed the time with you as a fleet commander, you get paid. You can fly shuttles. We have regular shuttles going around the solar system. There's mining and all sorts of different things. So, you know, come have a look at dianoiandirectorate.com/careers. I'll put a link down in the description, and you know, try it perhaps if you want. Not necessarily with DIA. Get into group play. This game does favor group play. Not that solo play is impossible here. I am more or less a solo player that's in organizations. I haven't done anything at any point really with any organizations. All of this was me on my own and with occasional help from my wife. But if you want to generate wealth, doing so scanning down tiles solo isn't necessarily your only option. You can get involved in group play, even if you make slightly less money per time invested. Hopefully you get to build relationships and friends and a support network in the game. Well, that's it. I am out of new tips to share. I thank you for watching this video. I hope that it's been useful to you and perhaps also entertaining. Until the next time, thank you for watching and bye for now.